Welcome to my $100,000 stock experiment, year 2, week 44, ending February 14, 2020. This isn't an endorsement to purchase any stocks that I bought, nor an endorsement to purchase stocks in general. I'm on a mission to become a great growth stock investor. Watch me on my journey, learn from my mistakes, and celebrate my successes. The S&P 500 is up about 1.6% for the week. The 8-day is pulling away from that 16-day. That's the pink line is pulling away from the green diagonal line. I drew a horizontal line at 33.45. That's just a line in the sand for me. I want to see this index hold above that point. There's nothing special for anyone else about this number. This is just a line so I can look at it every week and say, yes, it's above or below. The Russell 2000 was also up this week. It was up about 1.8%. It's barely out of this danger zone area between 1680 and 1640. That's an area that I didn't like it in. So I'm glad it's above it, but I'd really like to see it get up to that blue dotted line, 1706. And the VIX, or the volatility index, it closed at 1368 this week, which is great. I'd like to see it between 16 and 12. I would like to see shorter bars. At number 1, you can see the bars are still quite long. They're not as short as they were at number 2 or number 3. So I'd like to get them shorter again. Last week's plan was to sell anything that triggered a floor, which nothing did, and to evaluate GPN after the earnings. And then I wanted to look for stocks that were screaming at me to buy them. So I did make quite a few buys. I bought a B3 in Bill on Tuesday, plus I bought Top Build, Seattle Genetics, Square, and Tesla, all on Tuesday. On Thursday, I did a B2 in AMD and bought a stock called AtriCure. On Friday, I bought Model N and a B2 in Netflix. I'm going to review my new purchases. Top Build. This is a stock that I have been looking at for a while, and it came up into a pivot point, so I went ahead and bought this. I'm still waiting for this to make a move. It's right around the same point as where I purchased it. When I bought it, it had a composite rating of 98 and a relative strength of 93. Those are two of the ratings in the IBD that you can find at investors.com. So I've held this stock for just 4 days and it's up 0.1%. Seattle Genetics. I bought this stock also on Tuesday. It looked like it was going to be taking off and it retreated, drag, but it only came back to its 8-day simple moving average. It had a composite rating of 86 and a relative strength of 95. It is down 3.3%. So this is one of my loser stocks. Square. I've held this stock for 4 days and it's up 0.9%. I did leave my floor at my 8%, and when I bought it, it looked like it was going to break out from a long base, a 39-week base that you can't really see here, but I'll show you on the next chart. The composite rating is 96 and the relative strength was 87. So here's what I mean by a base. There were actually 2 bases. So this is a 1-year chart. And you can see at number 1, number 2, and number 3, this stock has come back to that price, right around $80, 3 times in the last year, and then it's dropped back down. And if you step back even further and you look at the 2-year chart, you can see at number 1, it had a really strong uptrend. And then at number 2, I put that big red box because the stock has just been hovering in this box for the last year and a half. And then at number 3, this is my hope for the stock in the future is that it's going to start its upward trend again. Tesla. I had to get on the Tesla train. It's been up as much as 340% in 6 months, which is amazing. I didn't get in it there, but I've just held it the 4 days and I'm up 3.3%. I am feeling a little rush in my buying, and I think I have some fear of missing out. So hopefully I did not get into this too late and it continues going up. It did have a composite rating of 85 and a relative strength of 99. AtriCure, symbol ATRC. So this is one of the stocks that was screaming at me to buy it. I really like this increased volume. The average volume is going up. It didn't have a super strong composite rating. It was 82 and the relative strength was 95. This stock does have an amazing up-down volume ratio of 3.2. The up-down volume is supposed to be an indication that the stock is under accumulation. So if it's under accumulation being bought by mutual funds out there, then it should continue to go up. It does have earnings, which is risky buying going into earnings. Earnings are on Tuesday, the 18th, after the market closes. So I'll be watching that. I've held it just 2 days and it's up 1.1%. Model N, stock symbol MODN. This is my other loser stock. I've just held it the 1 day and it didn't hold the price that I bought it at. It fell 2.3%. It has a composite rating of 94 and a relative strength of 95, and it has 4 nice up volume days. So here's my current holding bar chart. GPN in the purple there, I'm just showing 6 weeks, but I've held that stock for 13 weeks. And I put gold stars by my superstar stocks, AMD, Bill, and Netflix. The dashed black line at $10,000 is my $10,000 purchase amount. So any stocks that are below that point have losses, and any bars that are above that mark has gains. And then 9,200 yellow, that's my floor that I put when I purchase a stock. Every time I purchase a stock, I put the floor at 8% and then review it once a week and move it up. This is showing the 6 stocks that I've held for more than a week, and I rank them in order of the weakest stock to the strongest stock. Not the one that's necessarily made me the most money, but the one that has the best looking chart. So my weakest is FICO, and my strongest is Bill. FICO, this is the weakest stock. I call it weak because it has had some down days this week. It did drop below its 16-day simple moving average, but it did close above that. So I've held this stock for 1.5 weeks and it's up 1%. Since this is a relatively new purchase for me, I did leave my floor at 8%. I thought about raising it to the 31-day, but I thought that was too close to a drop down that it had on Tuesday and Wednesday. Apple. This stock also had a couple of down days this week, but it did close at its 8-day simple moving average. I've held it for 1.5 weeks and it's up 0.7%. GPN. I raised my floor to the 31-day exponential moving average. This stock did go down a little after earnings, and I thought that I would sell it, but on Thursday and Friday, it started moving back up. It is the stock that I've held the longest. I've held it just about 13 weeks, and it's up 14.2%. Netflix. I made a B2 on this on Friday, on February 14th. And I raised my floor for my B1 and my B2 to that 31-day exponential moving average. So the floor is at 352.32. I've held my B1 for a week and a half and it's up 2.5%. And I've held my B2 for just 1 day and it's down 0.2%. AMD, I rank this as one of my strongest stocks. It had a great week this week, up almost 10%. So I've held it for a week and a half and it's up 11.1%. And then I did a B2 on this on Thursday and it's up 1.1%. I did struggle with where to put that B1 floor. I didn't want to let a double-digit gain turn into a loss, but in the end, I decided to leave the floor at 8%. It has had quite a big price swing in the last few weeks, and I did get kicked out of it a few weeks back, and I didn't want to get kicked out of this again. Bill.com. I rank this as my strongest stock, even though it was down 2 days on Thursday and Friday this week. It was moving up so nicely that in the middle of the week, I raised my floor. I don't typically do that, but I wanted to keep capturing some of the gain in case it dropped. So I set my floor at 55.06, which I think on Tuesday was the 8-day simple moving average. So I just moved it up to that. This is an IPO stock, so it's only been around since December 12th, and in that time, it's only had 3 down days in a row. It happened twice, once at the end of December, and then again right at the beginning of January. So I'm hoping that these 2 down days don't turn into a 3rd down day or a 4th down day. I think that would not be a good sign for this stock. I'm showing the 1-month chart for Bill so you can see the volume more clearly. It doesn't get skewed by its IPO day volume. I have 3 buys in this stock. One I've held for 4.5 weeks and it's up 47%. One I've held for 2.5 weeks and it's up 26%. And one of them I held just for 4 days. I just bought it this week and it's up 3.3%. So the benchmark shows that I have a 52-week high for my portfolio. My $100,000 has grown in 1 year and 44 weeks to $154,684 versus the S&P 500 at 127,251. While this is a 52-week high for me, it's not an all-time high for my portfolio. When I first started out, I had a really great run and I was up to 160,000 on August 31st, 2018. I like to look at where my gains came from. So my new purchases, I have a total gain of $173. My existing holdings, I have a gain of $4,263, plus I had a $24 dividend from Apple. But most of my gain came from 2 of my stocks. Bill had a gain of $2,281 and AMD had a gain of $1,187. Here's my current dollar gain for my B1 only, and I sort these with the losers on the top, thinking if I take care of my losers that the winners will take care of themselves. So most of the stocks you can see I've only held for 1 week or 2 weeks. Down at the very bottom, GPN, I've held the longest. I'm showing 11 weeks here, but I've actually held it for 13 weeks. And even though I've held that so long, AMD is right above it and just behind the B1 purchase buy about $310. So AMD, I have 1,106 gain in my B1, and GPN, I have 1,416. Bill is the real winner here at 4,710. So the 2 losers, I've only held them a week, SGen and MODN. The S&P 500 was up 1.6% for the week, and you can see my chart showing the weekly percentage change for each of my stocks, sorted with the losers on the top. There's 6 stocks that did not beat the S&P for the week. They're shown in that red box, and then below it, there's also 6 stocks that did beat the S&P. AMD was up 11%, and Bill was up 10%. And it's amazing. Bill, I've held it for 5 weeks, and every week is an up week. So at the end of the week, the weekly change for the S&P 500 was 1.6% versus the Melissa method at 3%. You can see that in yellow. And then the year to date for the S&P is up 4.6%, and the Melissa method is up 4.4%. So year to date, S&P is slightly beating me. Here's the industry breakdown for the stocks. I'm quite diversified. The ones that have a number on it, Bill, I have 3 buys. AMD, I have 2 buys, and Netflix, I have 2 buys. So my biggest concentration is in software, where I have 3 stocks, followed by finance, where I have 2, medical, where I have 2, and then the rest I just have 1. Chips, leisure, I'm not going to read them all. You can see what the breakdown is. My cash balance on February 14th is $3,434. So I don't have enough money to make any buys. I'd have to sell something if I want to buy something else. My likely sells are anything that trigger the floor. And then my buys, I still want to be looking for those stocks that are jumping out at me saying, buy me, buy me. Thanks for watching. Keep an eye out for my next episode, or better yet, subscribe to my channel, The Melissa Method. Don't forget to hit the bell if you want an alert when I post a new episode.